the next step, which is the braces. First thing I'm going to do with these is I'm going to remove the rear piece of wood, and I want to hot glue it in place. Now I have these done. So now I'm going to go back to my canopy and I'm going to drill these holes out. I'm going to drill them both all the way through. That's going to remove the hot glue that's inside the hole whenever I glued it, and it's going to clear out the wood. It's going to clear any glue out of the wood. And then whenever these have set, I'm going to do exactly the same thing with it. And the other one. Okay, and now one final thing I can do is test. You're going to wind up with a piece of antenna tube or plastic tubing. This is going to be your hinge material, and we want to make sure that this is free on here, because that's what your parts are going to hinge on, so you can see that it is in fact free. You don't want to drill it out too big, but you want to drill it out big enough so that your parts can move around on it. The next thing is go ahead and glue the braces on here. So we're going to lay these braces out and lay the parts out and go ahead and mock them up. Now notice the wood is on the bottom, and here the wood goes to the outside. So we lay these braces on here and we orient these braces in the proper way. They'll only fit one way, so you can't really mess it up. So now I'm going to take them one at a time and glue them up. So I'll set this one off and I will glue this one here. So I'm going to pick this up and put the glue on and then put it back in place. So that'll complete the sub-assembly of both the canopy and the canopy sides. Here we're going to talk about the fins. Now we've removed the film off of them, but we have ink on the other side. So you can either remove the ink or you can leave it. I myself, doesn't really matter, but for this video I'm going to remove it. If it's really light, then you can sand it off. If it's a little heavy, then you can put tape on it and pull it off. You can see that even the light ink is coming off with the tape. The stickier the tape is, the quicker it'll remove the ink. The other option is the Ernie method. You can see there where it's pulled it off there quite a bit. So you can keep taping it and it will pull it off. Or, like I say, the Ernie method is to use sandpaper and sand it off. Now you'll want to do that very carefully because you can wind up sanding too much. But that's enough on that one. And that's enough on that one. And it looks like there's a little streak of black right here, so we'll pull that off. Just like that. Now, you need to wipe down, remove any fuzz or dust that's on your parts, because we need to reinforce them now. So you can either do this with colored tape or you can use the clear tape. I'm going to use the clear tape, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to tape from this corner to the bottom of that servo pocket. I'm going to run one piece of tape just like that, and then I want to mash it down, and then I'm going to cut it back to the bottom edge here. So I'm just going to be cutting the tape. I don't want to cut the foam, I want to cut only the tape, and then I'll remove it. And then on this end, we're going to cut the tape back and cut the tape back that, and fold it around. So it's going to fold back on the back side. Now I have an angle cut in it so that it doesn't interfere with the piece going down that way, because that's what we need to put on next. Again, you can use a colored tape, or if you want to use some other decoration, then you might want to do it in clear like I'm doing here. So again, tape, mash it down, trim it off at the bottom, just cutting it from the bottom edge here. And then again, you can trim this. So we trim it like that. And again, we cut this back at an angle and then fold it back around. Just like that. So now you can see I've reinforced this portion of the fin. So we'll do the same thing with the other one. And now we have both fins with tape on both sides, and they are ready to go. The next step is with the elevons. Now, you have a choice. You can build one of two ways. You can build with the elevons stopping here, or you can now cut this off. You wait until this stage before you do this. You can cut this tab off and run the elevons full length. They will come full length, so they're long enough if you want to cut this straight across. In other words, you would throw this up here, X-Acto blade, and cut through so that you have one line. I myself prefer to use this, the elevons this length, and not have them go full across. So what I'll do is I will leave myself about 1/8 of an inch gap, and I can throw in the plate to get that gap, and then I will move that out of the way and cut this off. So now I have both elevons. Now it's important that I leave these oriented, so we're going to leave them like that, because now I need to tape them off, and I need to tape the leading edge, the front edge. So I'm going to take this one back, and this is going to be the top. So I'm going to run a piece of tape, and I'm just going to use clear tape. So I'm going to run a piece of tape across the top, mash it down, and then fold it over and cut the tape so that it wraps onto the back side a little bit, like that. And the same thing here, so that I can wrap it around the back side, like that. And now I want to put a piece of tape on the back side. And this piece of tape needs to go from end to end, so we're going to just bring it over to the end. Much like that. Mash it down and then cut it off. I'm just going to cut that off flush. Same thing over here. Cut this off flush. Now I'll set this back in place so I know where it went. I'll take this one, same thing. We make sure this is all mashed down good. The final step to preparing these elevons, again, that one goes there. I'm going to take and run a straight edge right up on the edge, and then cut back about a 45-degree angle with a very sharp X-Acto blade with a 45 degree. Now, Put that back there. Take this one. Do the same thing. 45 degree. And that's what we're after. So now I have both elevons cut, so I can discard this. Now these are ready to mount. So before I mount these, I'm going to go ahead and put the reinforcing on the wing. Okay, we're going to take the reinforcing tape and we're going to let it stick off about 2 inches on either end. And we're going to drop it down right between the 2 slots. And again, let it go off about 2 inches. Because we're going to take that 2 inches and fold it around. Here we're wiping down the tape. Nice and smooth and tight. Pull it up and around. And stick it to the bottom. Just like that. Same thing on this side. Pull it up and around and stick it to the bottom. Just like that. Now we need a piece of tape to go between these 2 pieces. So we're going to let it stick over a little bit. Not much because we're going to be cutting it off. So push it down. A lot of people don't like this thin tape because it is a little troublesome to work with sometimes, but you know what, I actually like it because it's so thin, it's light. So now I'll cut this off. And I will cut this one off. And now rub this down. Remember, this is the bottom. This is where our lights were. So now we're ready to start putting this together.